Mana mana. Mana mana. Mana mana. Mana mana.
Hey everybody, Jeff Imboden here, a.k.a. Jaggy Jeff, with this week's podcast, What Would Jaggy Jeff Say? Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to say right now. This episode is called, Is the Customer Really Always Right? Yeah, you've heard the saying, the customer's always right, but are they? So I've been thinking about this for a while. I realized over the years that every job I've ever had, I've worked with the public and customers. I've been in customer service of some sort since age 14. So that'll kind of give you an idea of how much experience I have. I also have it in my blood. My grandfather and grandmother managed a department store, big department store, up by the Iowa-Missouri border. And it was a clothing and full shoe store, and I got to experience a lot. I was in there all the time as a kid. Also, I have it in my blood with my dad. My dad was a high school math teacher, but because he had 5 boys, he had to have other jobs. Matter of fact, I think at one point he had 4 jobs. Anyway, one of his jobs after school was he worked at a men's clothing store. So I got to go in and see that kind of customer service. So it's in my blood. I've been around it. And every job I've had, apparently, I've been in customer service. So I was thinking about the phrase, the customer is always right. Where did that come from, right? Well, I Googled it, of course. And it came from a guy named Harry Gordon Selfridge back in 1909. Harry Gordon Selfridge, sounds English because it is, was. He had a department store over in London, and he came up with this. Well, okay, guys, it's not 1909 anymore. It's the 21st century, and does it still hold water? Is the customer always right? You know, through the years, I've had a lot of employees in my different positions and jobs and businesses. And I've always told my employees that, look, 90% of the people are going to be nice and good customer and, let them know that they are. But 10% of your customers is going to give you 90% of your problems and your headaches and your heartaches. That's just the way it's going to be. But, if you've hired good employees to begin with, if you've trained them well how to handle those customers, most of those problems are going to go away. And if it gets to be a really bad problem, well, you tell your employee, of course, you let me know and I'll take care of it. That's what you do as a manager and an owner of a business. I didn't have the luxury of having too many employees when I ran a wine store. Had a wine store called Wine 101. It was pretty much me. And I got to tell you about a wine customer. Most of the customers were great that came in. As a matter of fact, we had wine tasting every day. We had a bar set up. Everybody's happy. But one time I had a customer bring back a wine bottle, and she said it wasn't any good. And she handed me the bottle, and it was empty. So I'm thinking, actually, I think I asked her. I said, so it wasn't any good, but you drank the whole bottle. She said, yeah, well, I didn't want to throw it out. I said, well, but so what do you want me to do? She said, well, I want my money back. And I said, but you drank the whole bottle. Well, it wasn't any good. We went back and forth for a while. That was so long ago, I forget what the heck I did. I don't know what I did. Anyway, yeah, is the customer always right? Well, I'm going to tell you here in a little while what my feelings are. Here's the deal. I can tell you this. It puts a strain on your relationship with your employees if you always say the customer's always right. And so the employee feels like, well, I have to be careful. I might make a mistake if the customer's always right. So what you need to do is you always need to back your employees. They're going to be a lot happier if you put them first over the customer, okay? You put your employee first, you train them right, you train them well, and then they're going to give better service, and better service means happier customers, right? Sure it does. I got to tell you, through the years, my worst customer by far was when I owned a restaurant. Now, the bar customers, they were great because they were there to have a good time, and we made sure they had a good time. Restaurant customer, worst customer I've ever experienced. I will never go into the restaurant business again. But, yeah, most of them were pretty happy. But, boy, when you got a bad one, you got troubles. Sometimes I had to kick people out of the restaurant. If they get really loud, particularly if they get a little inebriated and obnoxious and all kinds of stuff, sometimes you just got to say, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. And that's when the customer is not right. That means I'm the owner and I'm right. Oh, one time I got to tell you about a customer I had at the restaurant. This woman had been giving, she'd ordered a steak. I don't know what her husband ordered, but they'd been giving my waiter trouble all night about everything. So finally the waiter came back, and the waiter told me a couple of times, and I talked to my waiter, and the waiter came back and said, she wants to talk to you, the customer. I said, all right. And which table it was, I went over there and I said, hi, I'm Jeff. I'm the owner here. Did you need to talk to me? She said, yes. She pointed to her plate that was empty and had a little piece of something on there. And she said, I had your sirloin steak and it was awful. It wasn't cooked right. It tasted bad. And I looked down at her empty plate and I said, well, why did you eat the whole steak? We would have been able to take care. Well, I went ahead and ate it. I said, okay, but I could have taken care if you took a couple of bites and it wasn't cooked right or it didn't taste right or something, we would have made it right for you. But I'm not sure what you want me to do now. And she said, well, I want my money back. See, same story as the wine bottle. And I don't remember what I did. I just remember those incidents where you've got somebody and then you've got customers who think they're always right? And they tell your employees, they're always right about everything. And they're tough to work around. Now, what you do have to do with a customer, you have to talk to them. You have to communicate. You have to try to diffuse it. You have to try to be empathetic. Listen to them. But you also have to know when it's time to say no, because you've got your rules. You've got your, this is the way it is and that type of thing. So, and sometimes, the customer's just wrong. So this guy, Harry Gordon Selfridge, back in 1909, he was wrong. Back in 1909, maybe the customer was right. But I bet that guy had some unhappy employees. I'm just saying. So anyway, yeah, the customer, sometimes they think they know better. Sometimes they're extremely unrealistic with unrealistic expectations. Or, what's the phrase now? Sometimes they're just a Karen. And I'm not sure. I've had to deal with a couple of Karens in my life, and I never want to do that again. Ever want to do that again. So, yeah, you don't want to be afraid to say no. That's part of it. Now, that kind of leads into customer service. And that's not always saying, I'm not saying that I'm always right, except if I'm the owner, I am always right. But I'm not saying that my employee is always right. The employee can make a mistake. They can be having a bad day and take it out on a customer or whatever. That can be a problem. But you as the owner, you're the guy. The buck stops here. So that's that's part of it. So, that's the question. That's the name of this episode this week of my podcast. Is the customer really always right? And I say no. No, sir. They are not. So there you go. That's is that worth 2 cents? Maybe 1.5? Do they have 1.5? Do they have a half cent now? I don't think they do. So every podcast, I try to talk about music, play a little music, because that's what I do. And yesterday I played Jackson Browne on my radio show, 1450 KOKO, by the way. We are worldwide, in case you didn't know. And I'll tell you about that in a minute. But anyway, I played Jackson Browne, and I thought, you know what? My nephew, who lives down in around Nashville, he was running sound. He's a sound engineer. And he was touring with Jackson Browne just this last year. Isn't that cool? And so I texted him and said, hey, I knew Jackson Browne was still going out on something else. Oh, no, I think he was going over to Australia and New Zealand. And I asked my nephew, Caleb Imboden is his name. And I asked Caleb, are you getting to go over to Australia, man, and with Jackson Browne? Now, Caleb, he's been doing this for a while. He's a kid. I call him a kid. He's not, but I call him a kid. He's my nephew. Caleb has been doing this for a while. He was running sound for Lynyrd Skynyrd a few years ago, and they were coming through Kansas City playing at used to be the Sprint Center. What is it now? I don't know. T-Mobile Center. Anyway, he got us tickets, and it's good to know somebody, guys. We got 14th row right in the middle, and we got to go backstage, meet the band, see all the cool stuff that Caleb works with. And I got to tell you something real quick. And I told Caleb this. I said, that was maybe the best concert I've ever been to. Lynyrd Skynyrd was great. Marshall Tucker Band opened for him. I said, also the loudest, by far the loudest concert I've ever been to. We had worn ear plugs. We all wore, there's 4 of us, we wore earplugs. But it was so loud, not only did it shake the inside of my body, my innards and my organs were just vibrating. My hair was moving, was vibrating. That's how loud it was, guys. And it was so good. Anyway, Caleb got a big kick out of that. He said, yeah, they like to turn it up. Anyway, he just got done with Jackson Browne. He texted me back the other day or yesterday. And said, no, I'm done with Jackson Browne. Now I'm going out on tour and running sound for country singer Luke Combs. And I said, Luke Combs? Man, that dude is big time. That is awesome. I'm so proud of Caleb. And I got to say, I'm a little jealous. He's young, not married yet. So he can get out there and go on tour with these guys. But I would love to do some of that. Caleb, congratulations. Luke Combs is the real deal. As a matter of fact, I'm going to play y'all a song by Luke Combs. This was his first, I think it was his first #1 hit, but he's had, 15 #1s, had all kinds of awards. But anyway, let me play this for you. Check it out.
Day starts with a coffee and ends with a wine. Takes forever in getting ready, so she's never on time for anything. When she gets that come get me look in her eyes, well, it kinda scares me the way that she drives me wild. She drives me wild. sees, she can't help but amaze me. The way that she dances, ain't afraid to take chances, and wears her heart on her sleeve. Yeah, she's crazy, but her crazy's beautiful to me. She makes
Oh, yeah, good stuff by Luke Combs. Country singer, my nephew Caleb, running the sound for him. I think he said it's his stadium tour. So that'll be a lot of fun. And Caleb, if you're coming through Kansas City, let me know. Well, guys, that's it for this week's podcast. What would Jaggy Jeff say? Check me out on my website. That's jaggyjeff.com, Jaggy, Jeff.com. Also, my radio show every Monday through Friday, 1 to 5 p.m. Central Time, 1450 KOKO. We call it Coco Radio. We're also worldwide on the internet at warrensburgradio.com. We're on Alexa and all those Alexa things. What is there? The Echo and the Echo Dot and the Echo Show and the Echo Jacko. I don't know. I don't know all the things out there now. Anyway, we're also on there's a free app out there for your mobile device and your phone called TuneIn Radio, TuneIn Radio. It's free, works great, and you can listen to our radio station, 1450 KOKO. And, of course, my podcast is on my website, jaggyjeff.com, also on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeart, and Amazon. So you can check that out on my blog as well. I put a blog out every Friday on jaggyjeff.com. Well, thanks for listening. Always be cool out there and go out and make it a great day. We'll see ya. Bye-bye.
Mana mana. Mana mana. Mana mana. Mana mana. Mana mana.